Today we are going to cover Top 20 Scrum Master Interview Questions and Answers. Number 1. What is Scrum? Scrum is an agile project management framework that helps teams structure and manage their work through a set of values, principles, and practices. Much like a rugby team, where it gets its name, training for the big game, Scrum encourages teams to learn through experiences, self-organize while working on a problem, and reflect on their wins and losses to continuously improve. Next, define the roles in Scrum. There are 3 main roles in Scrum. Number 1. Product Owner. The product owner is an individual who is responsible for increasing the ROI by determining product features, prioritizing these features into a list, what needs to be focused on the upcoming sprint, and much more. Number 2. Scrum Master. This individual helps the team in learning to apply Scrum to ensure optimum business value. The Scrum Master removes impediments, shields the team from distractions, and enables them to adopt agile practices. Number 3. Scrum Team. They are a collection of individuals who work together to ensure that the requirements of the stakeholders are delivered. Next, what is the difference between Agile and Scrum? Agile is a philosophy about how to successfully deliver software or project to a customer, while Scrum is a proven framework of Agile for software development teams to follow. Next, what are the artifacts of the Scrum process? Number 1. Product Backlog. It is a list that consists of new features, changes to features, bug fixes, changes to the infrastructure, and other activities to ensure a particular output can be obtained. Number 2. Sprint Backlog. It is a subset of the product backlog that contains tasks focused on by the team to satisfy the sprint goal. Teams first identify the tasks to be completed from the product backlog. These are then added to the sprint backlog. Number 3. Product Increment. It is a combination of all product backlog items completed in a sprint and the value of previous sprint's increments. The output must be in usable condition, even if the product owner doesn't release it. Next, how are the product and sprint backlog different from one another? Product backlog is a list of items that need to be completed for developing the product, where sprint backlog is a list of items to be completed during each sprint. Next, who is a Scrum Master? And what does he do? A Scrum Master is someone who promotes and supports the usage of Scrum within the team. He understands the theory, practices, rules, and values of Scrum. He ensures that the team follows the values, principles, and practices of Scrum. They remove any distractions and impediments that hamper the progress of the project. The Scrum Master ensures that the team delivers value during the sprint. Next, what happens in daily stand-up sessions? Stand-up sessions are daily discussions that take place and are usually 15 minutes long. Daily stand-up sessions help understand what tasks went well, what tasks were completed, what tasks are pending, and the obstacles the team is facing. The meeting helps in understanding the overall scope and status of the project. Further discussions can take place after the stand-up sessions. Next, what is Scrum Ban? Scrum Ban is a methodology that's a combination of Scrum and Kanban. Scrum Ban can be used to meet the needs of the team, and to minimize the batching of work, and to adopt a pull-based system. It ingeniously includes the structure of Scrum and the flexibility and visualization of Kanban. Next, what happens in a sprint retrospective? The sprint retrospective takes place after the sprint review. During this meeting, past mistakes, potential issues, and new methods to handle them are discussed. This data is incorporated into the planning of a new sprint. Next, what is a user story? A user story is an agile project management tool that provides teams with simple, natural language explanations of one or more features of the project, that's written from the perspective of the end user. Next, how are user stories, epics, and tasks different? User stories provide the team with simple explanations of the business requirements, created from the end user's perspective. An epic is a collection of related user stories. They are usually large and complex. Tasks are used to break down user stories further. They're the smallest unit in Scrum that is used to track work. A person or a team of 2 people usually work on a task. Next, what is a sprint? Sprint is a terminology used in Scrum, used to describe a time-boxed iteration. During a sprint, a specific module or feature of the product is created. The duration of a sprint can vary between a week or 2. Next, what is velocity? Velocity is a metric used to measure the amount of work completed by a team during a sprint. It refers to the number of user stories completed in a sprint. Next, what is a burn-up and burn-down chart? A burn-up chart is a tool that shows how much work has been completed and the total scope of the project. A burn-down chart shows the amount of work that has been completed in an epoch or sprint, and the total work remaining. Next, what is scope creep? Scope creep in project management refers to changes, continuous or uncontrolled growth in a project's scope, at any point after the project begins. This can occur when the scope of a project is not properly defined, documented, or controlled. It is generally considered harmful. Next, what are MVP and MMP? MVP, a product that has just enough features to satisfy the needs of early customers and, more importantly, give them something to provide feedback on to shape the future of the product. The minimum marketable product, MMP, comes after the MVP in the product development process. The MMP functionality is based on the feedback to the MVP. The features may still be limited, but the important part is that they work and can deliver value to the customer. Next, what are the Scrum values? The 5 Scrum values are commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. According to the Scrum Guide, successful use of Scrum depends on people becoming more proficient in living these 5 values. Next, what is timeboxing in Scrum? Timeboxing is allotting a fixed, maximum unit of time for an activity. That unit of time is called a time box. The goal of timeboxing is to define and limit the amount of time dedicated to an activity. Scrum uses timeboxing for all of the Scrum events and as a tool for concretely defining open-ended or ambiguous tasks. Next, when should you use Waterfall over Scrum? Use Waterfall if the requirements are simple, predictable, fully defined and understood, and will not change. Lastly, how to prepare for Scrum Master interview. To pass Scrum Master interview questions, be ready to answer both theoretical questions and the inevitable follow-up and try to grasp knowledge from Scrum Guide as much as you can. And don't forget to follow these tips. Tip number 1, follow Agile principles yourself. Tip number 2, know the basics. Tip number 3, hone your communication skills. Tip number 4, prepare for scenario-based questions. Tip number 5, being a Scrum Master is a challenging, but rewarding role. Experience in this role is the key to success. Sometimes doing nothing is a perfect activity for a Scrum Master. The biggest pitfall for a Scrum Master is being too busy and not noticing what is really going on. It takes years of experience and training to be a good Scrum Master. For more such content, please like and subscribe.